I guess, some people still have it. Like my father-in-law is still all about it. Directions. Directions to places. You don't need those anymore.
No.
When I go to Florida, where he lives, it's like, all right, here's what you're going to do. I'm like, Earl,
He wants to give you a
really
landmark
okay.
of like where the drugstore is.
Where the old red schoolhouse used to be.
Right.
It's really okay. I got it right.
Yeah. My car and or my phone are going to tell me everything.
But then if
I
I
need to know.
say that, I mean, he's 86.
Yeah.
If I say that, he's going to be like, well, this is why you can't trust that. He's going to tell me why I can't trust the GPS.
Right.
But you and I are talking about where we're going tomorrow, and you have a better grasp of where it is than I
have
do.
Literally driven past this place. I go different ways to work now, but for like the first maybe 20 years that I worked in this building, I left my house and drove down Starin to Kenmore, turned right, and drove up Kenmore to Niagara Falls Boulevard, and then just on my way to Maple and Sweet Home. And this place is just about 2 miles, neighbors on Kenmore Avenue, is about 2 miles from my house. And you're trying to figure out exactly, because you're not as familiar with, you haven't driven past it every day for 20 years. So you're like, you're different cross street, like, no, it's further, no. And you keep going back to a Colvin, like, no.
I wasn't really trying to get it right. I was just sort of
spitballing, trying to figure out in your head where it was, like what you knew.
When I hear Kenmore Avenue, I think of St. Joe's.
Yep.
And then I'm going to go one way or the other from St. Joe's.
It is probably a half a mile from
way.
St. Joe's.
Okay.
Like
well,
Starin is the next light from St. Joe's, and then this place is right there.
All right. See, I'm not that far off.
Yeah, but just,
Dare I say it, I think I'm directionally accurate on this one.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively. Anyway, well, that'll be tomorrow. See you there.
Yeah, come on out.
Yesterday, I thought we had I thought there were a few interesting conversations yesterday, and I was happy with it. And one was this point I thought of when, like, the Bills-Patriots game being, like, the game of the year. Not this game. And a part of me, like, I tweeted that, and I don't believe anybody said this to me, but when I thought of it, I was kind of, like, looking for it, that, like, tomorrow we'll have Alex Gold on, and it could be construed as, oh, sure, now that, it's the Chiefs and you've lost a couple games and you can't beat us in the playoffs ever, of course you're going to rationalize
ducking it as the game
importance of this game. Like, of course you're going to say the Chiefs are favored, Somebody could have told me that. No one did. And it wasn't what I was going for anyway. But it's that, to use the same scenario, the Bills could win this game and their next 5 after that to go to 11-2. And if New England is 10-3 or better, again, we're talking the Bills going undefeated until December.
Mm-hmm.
If New England with an easier schedule, if not an easy schedule, is 10-3 or better, they're at 6-2 already. So anything from 4-1 north. That game is it. That game is the one that probably determines whether you're going on the road, wild card or division. You might think whoever is in the lead after that game should get home, although the Patriots also play Baltimore in that stretch, and maybe Baltimore will be good by then. They play the Ravens in Baltimore the week after hosting the Bills, but that's not the point. The point is that game in Week 15 is the one. That's the one to circle.
The Bills still have the Eagles looming there, Week 17,
right.
Where, their other 2 games after that are Cleveland and the Jets. I don't feel like that's very daunting at all, but that Eagle game is, that's a big one. It's one that even if the Bills get to that New England game and pass them, that's a game that could draw them back in. And then we get to division record and other stuff because the head-to-head will be a split if the Bills beat them, right, to take the lead. But if that Eagle game could be a stick in the spokes.
And that wouldn't even necessarily mean that the Bills would be in first if they're tied, because that would come down to common opponents and other things. It wouldn't even be that, like, to go 1-1 with the Patriots would be enough. But anyway, it's just to say, like, what the big picture of this season, it's kind of an obvious point, right? Like, what the big picture of the season has been about is home field, even the one. And you can't have that if you don't win the division, obviously. You're not going to play any home games unless there are a ton of upsets. So that's the whole point. Then I was thinking today, just sort of a random sidebar to that discussion. Would you rather that game, the Patriot road game, be this week and the Chiefs game be in week 15? Is there any sort of like smart take on that? Not that, of course, like anybody can do anything about that.
Yeah.
But how would you feel if? I think I would trade. I think I would rather the Patriot road game be this week and then play it out from there than have this kind of scenario. But I'm not exactly sure why.
Yeah, I can't just hearing this thought for the first time right now come up with a good reason to say I would. I do like a game for the division. I almost wish the New England game was where the Philly game is.
17.
Yeah. Kind of like with Miami a few years ago when the Bills had to go down there and win. It was only 2 years ago, so not a few. It's a couple of years ago. And in order to seal the division up, and they went into that day not even knowing if they would be in the playoffs unless they won that game. If they would win it and be in, but they didn't. They could lose it and be completely out. As it turned out, by the time the game kicked off, both teams were going to be in, win or lose. Right? That's right. Right?
I think so. There was that the game in Indianapolis at Jacksonville, and Jacksonville won by 100.
Yeah.
If that's right.
I think that's right.
Anyway, yeah. Well, I was just thinking about that. Like,
yeah, I don't need to rush the New England game. I like if the division is competitive. I like December. This is it. That feels like how football should be. Almost any division I like when it comes down to, week 15 or later, even 16, 17, like I'm saying, that I would swap it for that Eagle game in a heartbeat right now if I could. Just because I feel like that's, I don't know, the drama builds and I'm here for that.
All right, so you want the Patriots game on the schedule to be later than it is.
Later than it is, and you're suggesting
I kind of want it to be right now.
Yeah.
Because we really haven't taken calls on New England. And I know I'm not begging for it because we've got Joe Ostrowski, Ian Hartitz coming up, Sal coming up, hockey game tonight. It's not like there's a lot. The windows are pretty small, but we really haven't. Do you agree with this? We really haven't talked about the Patriot threat. And whatever.
That's right. Because it was mentioned. I think I said a few times in the run up to the game, like you lose this game. You're behind them. It's just going to happen like that. Like you're chasing them.
The game against New England.
A game against New England, yeah. The first loss of the year. Like as good as the year's going, suddenly you're in a spot where you're tied with them, and technically they're ahead of you now because they've got the head-to-head on you. But that was the extent of it. And then they lost, and it was just all about that they lost, not so much what the threat New England was. And then they lost another game on the heels of that, and then the bye. And, you're right, we did kind of blow past New England. I'll tell you why. I sort of was pushing back, I don't know, not hard. I don't think it was, aggressive even at all, on the game of the year moniker for that game is because we're only halfway through the season, and it's still possible New England – as presently constituted, could still go pumpkin, even with the easy schedule. And that doesn't mean I think May is going to fall apart, but is he going to just play? Is he going to continue to complete whatever outrageous percentage of his 20-yard air yard passes or more? Is he going to continue to play like an MVP in his second year in the league? He might. I mean, guys do that. But they also, all the things that were said about them in the summer, they're the team that's coming, but how fast are they coming? Well, they've come a lot faster, right? I didn't think they'd be, forget about the rearview mirror. You're looking up at them. You're chasing them. And I would not have expected that. And I don't want to fall for what I thought in the summer still holding true, but how many really good players do they have? Are they to be? Should I expect them to go 5-1 until they, or 4-1 until they play the Bills?
Well,
I mean, who they play plays into that. But anybody in this league can lose to anyone any given week. So I don't know. I'm going to want to see before I settle for that's the game of the year. I'm going to need to see them get to this game, in great shape, the kind of great shape they're currently in. So that's holding me back a little on that, and also from wanting to rush the game, because who knows? I could be a couple of games ahead of them by the time I meet them in Week 15.
I mostly agree. I want to say, just to the one point you made about Drake May in there, how about this Trey Savage? You never know how young athletes are going to handle the big moment. And we think mostly like people who would be terrified of all the, think about like playing golf even, just sort of other people watching you or whatever. I hit a golf shot. I played maybe 3 times this year. I think it's probably over. And one was a tournament at Beaver Island, and they're all these geese at Beaver Island. It's home for me. It's the first golf course I ever played. It's home, and I just always like being there. But there are lots of geese. And I was playing with Sneaky Joe, and it was this one hole along the road, and there were 100 geese 50 yards out from me.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit the worst possible shot for this.
Into the geese.
Low line drive.
Right.
That just I felt like my odds were pretty good to pick one of them off. This is one of these things in life, by the way, where I kind of have flashbacks, not nightmares, but flashbacks to it, even though nothing actually went wrong. Like I didn't hit a goose. This is not how the story ends.
Mm-hmm.
I missed. But I still kind of think that I could have, and it bothers me. So anyway, Drake, let's go backwards. Drake May, Savage.
Pressure.
Yeah, the kid last night for the Blue Jays, can you imagine just not succumbing to it? And maybe that's May. Maybe it's not. But the assumption sports fans make is that, all right, well, you're young and that's bad. I think somebody, maybe this isn't Josh Allen, but somebody with experience, much more experience, but some of it's negative, could be just as susceptible to faltering under the pressure. And I just tend to think in general that most guys are not going to falter anyway. Still, May, so they're 6-2. Would you take, let's say we're the Patriots, would you take 9-4? That's the record where the Bills would need to go 6 straight wins, 11-2 then by that, to be clear of a game against New England, tipping the division in the Patriots' favor. Did that make sense? If you're 2 games up and you lose, you're still ahead.
Still ahead of them with 3 games to go.
So you need to be 2 games up, or else a loss there is bad. 9-4, 6-2 now. Would you take that? Would you take this scenario? I think yes, but here are the games. Home to Atlanta, at Tampa Bay, home to the Jets, at Cincinnati, home to the Giants. Does 3-2 to the Patriots with 3-2 sound good in that block of games? I might think it's the floor.
Tampa is, to me, easily the toughest game of those 5.
They'll be an underdog?
Where is that? Did you say in Tampa?
Yeah.
I would.
I think so.
Yeah.
Tampa off a bye this week.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe they have everybody back.
Atlanta, throw a coin in the air. I don't,
Really?
What are they going to be? Are they the team that took the Bills apart, or are they the team that lost 30-0 to Carolina and lost to Miami last week?
What's your guess?
I don't know, but that's what I'm saying about them entirely.
They're a touchdown favorite.
To me, they could. I would not be the least bit surprised if they lost that game.
Okay.
Fine. No, and I wasn't really prepared to be the least bit surprised if the Bills lost to them, because Atlanta, I thought, could be a division-winning type team. I think there is a lot of talent there on both sides of the ball, but they just, for some reason, have not really put it all together on any kind of regular basis. So, there's 2, right? At least Tampa, definitely. Then, I don't know. The Bengals, is Flacco still hot, or is he gone pumpkin by then? It's
probably not Burrow yet.
I would take it for sure.
From if you're
here.
New England, you would take it.
Oh, well, no. I mean, from my perspective. If I'm New England, I think I might.
I think that's really all you need is 3-2. I think that's all you need.
Yeah.
For 9-4.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the AFC East, you need the Bills. Well, the Bills would need to go 6-0, like we said. Like that's what they would. If you put New England right now at 9-4, then unless the Bills go 6-0, they'll have to win that game, or else they're probably a wild card team. There's still 3 games after that.
Right.
I don't want to sound too sure of myself about this. It's just that game has a bigger impact probably on where you're going to land in the playoffs than this one. I think, by the way, this one is more important to Kansas City than it is to the Bills, because this one is that would be 5-4 if they lost. And now you got to watch out because you have Denver twice and Indianapolis and Houston and the Chargers. They could lose 7. They could not make it. That's how I would look at this game if I were talking about the Chiefs. They can't lose 7 games.
They could be in real trouble if they drop this game.
Yes. And right now, everybody wants to tell you how they're perfect. Like right now, everybody's at Kansas City looks perfect. But these are all tough. At Buffalo, at Denver, Indianapolis, at Dallas, for what it's worth, Houston, Chargers, at Tennessee, okay. Denver again, Raiders. How should they expect to go in those, 7, 9? Used to be so easy. They're 5-3.
Yes.
You play 17. They have 9 more.
Sorry.
I mean, would Kansas City take 11-6? No. They're Kansas City.
Right now, they would not. If they lose this one, they might.
Yes, that's right. I think that's right.
So that circles you back to how big it is. And to me, any game, if you want to continue to play I want to catch the Colts game, then regardless of who you're playing, every game is massive right now to me for the Bills. And look, I don't expect them to go to the wire here without losing another game, right? I got to count on Indianapolis at some point to drop some games. They do have some tough games. Unfortunately, one of those is also against Kansas City, which, if they get you this week, then you might have a Kansas City problem, moving forward. But I want to keep the dream alive about the 1 seed, and dropping this game would make it really hard. Because right now I'm a game behind. Indy's played the 1 more game than me. They'll have their bye eventually. If I can stay right on their bumper here, then let's see what happens when they do get some tougher games. Because they have had a pretty cake schedule. The hardest game they had was the Denver game, and they got a pretty fluky win in that game, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So,
they were even with Denver,
right?
But they got the penalty.
They easily could have lost that game.
Yep.
And
they thought they had.
Right. So I want to stay on their bumper. So I want to beat the Chiefs. It still feels like a super important game just because I need a W. And I would feel that way if I was playing Jacksonville this week. Really?
Well, sure. If the Bills are good enough, it very well could all fall right. Like maybe we thought 3 weeks ago that was almost likely to happen. It very well could fall all right. The idea that the Patriots are just not too good for the league and that they will lose games, sure, I think that's reasonable. The idea that Kansas City with that schedule loses 2 or 3 more games, okay. Indianapolis, their next 3 games are in Pittsburgh, Berlin, and Kansas City, with a bye in the middle there.
Who are they playing in Berlin?
Atlanta.
Okay, because Berlin doesn't have a team as far as I know.
Well, they probably do. We just don't know yet.
Oh, all right.
They probably have 2.
East and West?
Yes. Yes. Old school. So, if you have faith in the Bills still being like last year's Bills, where they had the 2 losses, but, they're fine, right? And then they just sort of roll, then it could very well all fall right. You still have Denver to deal with, and I don't know who else really. There's no AFC North team that's going to get in their way. I mean, if Pittsburgh suddenly becomes great, then we're talking about them for seeding. But the Ravens are the betting favorite at 2-5. So right now, the AFC North winner is the 4. And that very well could be either who Denver KC loser or New England Buffalo loser gets in the first round, which is, actually kind of hot. Very interesting. I mean, going 17-0 and having that to talk about was fun while it lasted.
It's good that we got a month out of that.
We got a little mileage out of that, but this is just really good. New England being what it is, and Indianapolis.
Do you have
it's not all so obvious this year.
Do you have all those schedules open? Like so New England, because I'm thinking about a scenario where I don't have a 2-game lead after I beat New England. I've got a 1-game lead after I beat New England. However it falls, right? I beat them and I'm ahead of them by a game. I've got that Philly game sitting there week 17. What do they have after they play the Bills?
Ravens, Jets, Dolphins.
Okay. So I need Baltimore to be living for that. Right, I need them to stay alive. I can't.
Well, you know what? Tonight, then, will be interesting.
Right.
Not just for this reason, but just overall. Does Baltimore still want to compete? Or do they go to Miami and, smoke? Or something, and just smoke-flavored mud.
Smoke-flavored mud. I cannot Mallow cups. I cannot really tell you why, but I kind of love Miami tonight.
Okay, well, we will get there. The line at 4:45.
I don't know why, but I do.
Joe Ostrowski. Why wait to 4:45? Joe Ostrowski coming up. Ian Hartitz, Sal Capaccio. The Sabres are in Boston, 6 o'clock pregame. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for listening.